Welcome back, everyone. I have the last of the knives in this current shipment from Alex over at the Knife Box channel to talk about today. And then I can box them up and ship them back to him along with a watch and a knife that he bought from me. So this is a very interesting knife. I'm not sure I would own one because it doesn't really do a lot for me other than it's classic. The innovation behind it, the history behind it is very intriguing to me. So I'm super honored that I was able to check it out because it is so unique and different. So it is the Paul knife made by Gerber, as you can see here. And I'm not going to go into all the history, but I will put a link down in the description to a page by Doug Ritter, who did a whole history of Paul Pullman, who's the designer and who's this knife is named after. I wanted to leave it in the package so you could see kind of the presentation because I think they did an excellent job on that. So you open it up and you have the actual knife. You have a little description there, and it came with some paperwork. Okay, so let's pull this out. The interesting thing about it is the axial lock design. And I will stick a picture of kind of an exploded view from the patent over here in the corner. Move that out of the way and I'll put it up in here somewhere. So you can see that for a minute because it's interesting. And I'll put some links down below because I think it's worth checking out for us gear guys, us tinkerer guy, I don't know, just it's very interesting to me. So it's an axial pivot lock is what they call it. So this is the model 2PM for micarta. You had a 2P, which was just stainless steel, the 2PM, which has this vintage micarta, and then the 2PW that had wood scales. I think this one's awesome. I saw some pictures of the wood one. That looked good too. And I saw pictures of the stainless steel one, which didn't look very good because it really basically, from the pictures I could tell, it just didn't have the scales on it at all. And it was just the stainless steel. Now, it's a smaller knife, but feels good in the hand. And this really isn't something I don't think many people are going to be carrying. Okay. So a little bit of the history. Paul Pullman is the designer and custom maker. He holds 40 patents, and 20 of those patents are for folding knives. So I think that's interesting. So the lock is different. Okay, so it's locked closed right now. And what you do is, let me zoom in. What you do is you pinch here, and there's actually there's actually instructions in the paperwork here that talk about how to hold it and what to do with it. So it's very interesting. And I love the fact that Alex has all the paperwork. So you pinch it and you hold, and then basically the handle moves and then the blade is open. Same thing when you close it. You pinch and you're moving the handle because your finger is holding the pivot, which is connected to the blade, if that makes sense. Now to close it, once you release the locking part and you get it past the quote unquote detent, then you can just push it closed and it will snap locked. Okay. And that pivot will come out here. If you can see there, it just pops out. It's kind of like, and it doesn't run it runs super smooth, but it's not like drop shutty. So you could grab it by this. If I zoom out, maybe I can do this. Pinch the pivot and then snap it around. And you're snapping the handle down. not the blade out. I think that makes sense. I think you guys get that, right? Okay, so Paul Pullman was an aerospace research and development engineer. He was also an inventor, and he came up with this axial lock, and he made about 150 of these in a custom version. He was getting so much rave reviews and whatnot that he needed to make more. He needed to get this into the hands of other people. Now, this was back in the mid to late 70s that this started. And the link I'm going to put from Doug Rader's page has all the dates. I didn't memorize all the dates or write them all down. But he made about 150 of these before searching for somebody to make them in a larger production, because he really wanted to get these into the hands of more people. So he reached out, he found Gerber, which is in Portland, Oregon. So these are made in the United States, and contracted with Gerber to make a run. And so they made a bunch of them for several years, from mid 80s through early 90s, I think. Then they stopped, and then they came back and made more in 99 through something. This particular one, Alex says, is from the 2002-ish range. But so there's probably about 100,000 of these Gerber-made versions out there, and 150 customs. So that's pretty cool. Low numbers. All right, what else we got? Let's go into the specs now. So close length, it's 3.5 inches. Overall, as you see it right here, is 6 inches. 2.43 inch blade, 2.09 cutting edge. It's just stainless steel. Everything is stainless steel except for the micarta, basically, is what I have best I could find. The blade thickness is 0.112. Overall thickness is 0.460. And it weighs in at just 2.8 ounces. But again, I don't know that this is something that people are really carrying in today's world. I think back in the day, yes, this was probably carried a lot by a lot of people. There was also an optional leather sheath for these back in the day. I think it's a really cool, classic kind of a piece of history, piece of knife history. I think there's really a kind of a cult following for these knives. And I think that's one of the reasons that Alex bought one. Not because he's into the whole cult thing, but he likes to collect a lot of things that are significant in knife history, I think. I think this is very cool. And I don't necessarily want to rush out and try to find myself one, but I think it's very cool. And I'm excited that I was able to handle one, because it is different and unique and kind of cool. So we'll do a couple of quick size comparisons just to give you an idea. And I zoomed out way too far. You saw my messy table here. So I got the Sharpie and the number 2 pencil. We'll keep this pretty quick because it's, you know, it's a unique knife that I know people are not going to be going to search to get. Spyderco Delica and the D-size battery. Okay. I think that kind of covers it. We don't need to go into a lot of detail on this thing, but yeah, very cool knife. Thanks, Alex, for sending this in. Please go check out Alex's channel and go check out the history of Paul Pullman, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, on the link that I'm going to put down below. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.